All right, Patrick. In segment 3, we talked about what are predatory loans and how people were profiled. And a lot of it was in the African American community, and a lot of them were widows who had homes that their husbands had worked for, that they may have worked for, build up some equity, and then they were put into loans that they were very unlikely to ever be able to pay back. Is that correct?
And that wasn't the end of it. There was also an actual incredible criminal scheme that it was even more disgusting, if you can actually believe this. Literally, there were brokers that would go into churches of all different types of denominations in different races and everything else, but particularly in the African American community. They would target these people that you said had ownership of their homes, and that because at the time, there were, needs for medicine, maybe other aspects of their life, and they didn't have increased income because they were on fixed income. And so these they would be targeted that they could take equity in their house to loan, to give them extra money to pay for things that they needed. But ultimately what this led to, literally, because of what we were just talking about in terms of documentation fabrication, it got so horrific that brokers and people within banks, through a conspiracy, would lie on documentation to get loans taken out in other people's names that they stole the money.
So these were phony straw loans.
Yes.
Made it appear that they were being taken out by people who own the homes.
That's correct.
But they didn't get the proceeds of the loans.
They didn't get the proceeds.
And they never agreed to the loans.
They never agreed to the loan. They were elderly.
And their homes were foreclosed upon.
And their homes were foreclosed upon, and some were stuck in the streets, and Addie Polk ended up shooting herself 4 times in the chest instead of going into the streets homeless.
And were there checks and balances here? Were the mortgage banks paying close attention to these loans to make sure that the stated income was correct, the stated assets were correct on these documents?
It was a free-for-all. Imagine piranhas gnawing into let's call it a ham, leg that you would put in the Amazon, right? I mean, it was literally, they were incentivized to get as many deals in the pipeline by any means necessary to kick through the system, because that's how everybody got paid, through fees.